The tale of the Cardiff Giant is one that stands as a monument to human gullibility, the clash between science and religion, and the art of deception. This colossal fraud, which began in the mind of a frustrated New York tobacconist, would become one of the most famous hoaxes in American history, drawing thousands of spectators and igniting debates that bridged the realms of faith, science, and skepticism. In the mid-19th century, America was a land of fervent religious revivals, scientific exploration, and quite often sensational hoaxes. The seeds of the Cardiff Giant were sown in this fertile ground by George Hull, an atheist who harbored deep disdain for the literal interpretation of the Bible that was so prevalent in his time. Hull's idea for the hoax was sparked during a heated argument with a Methodist preacher. The preacher insisted on the truth of the biblical passage from Genesis 6:4, which states, "There were giants in the earth in those days." Hull found this claim absurd and sought to expose the naivety of those who believed it by creating a giant of his own. Hull's plan was audacious. He purchased a massive block of gypsum from a quarry in Iowa, which he claimed was intended for an Abraham Lincoln monument. In reality, this block was destined to become the Cardiff Giant. Hull transported the gypsum to Chicago, where he enlisted the help of skilled sculptors to carve it into the likeness of a man. The sculpture was no ordinary statue. It was detailed with features like nails, nostrils, ribs, and even a serene expression on its face. Hull, ever the perfectionist, ensured that the giant appeared weathered and ancient by applying sulfuric acid to its surface, giving it a dark, aged appearance.
Once the giant was complete, Hull transported it to the farm of his cousin, William Newell, in Cardiff, New York. This location was carefully chosen. Cardiff was not only a quiet, rural area, but also a region steeped in religious history. It was near the Burned-Over district, an area known for intense religious revivals during the Second Great Awakening, and close to where Joseph Smith, the founder of Mormonism, claimed to have had his divine visions. The idea of a biblical giant being buried in such a place would not seem out of place to the locals. In November 1868, under the cover of darkness, Hull and his accomplices buried the giant on Newell's farm. They left it undisturbed for nearly a year, allowing the soil to settle and the plant roots to intertwine with the statue, enhancing the illusion that it had been buried for centuries. Then, in October 1869, Hull decided the time was right to unveil his creation to the world. He instructed Newell to hire 2 workers to dig a well in the spot where the giant lay buried. As the workers dug, they struck something hard. When they cleared away the soil, they were astonished to discover a giant stone foot. One of the men reportedly exclaimed, "I declare some old Indian has been buried here." Word of the discovery spread rapidly. By the end of the day, a small crowd had gathered on Newell's farm, and by the following week, thousands of people had come to see the Cardiff Giant. Newell, seeing the potential for profit, erected a tent over the site and began charging 50 cents for a 15-minute viewing, a considerable sum at the time. The giant quickly became a national sensation, attracting attention from all corners of the country. Newspapers across the nation featured stories about the giant with headlines like "A New Wonder" and "A Singular Discovery." As the crowds grew, so did the theories about the giant's origins. Some believed it was a petrified ancient man, a remnant of a prehistoric race. Others, including some scientists, speculated that it was a statue carved by ancient civilizations, perhaps by the French Jesuits who had once settled in the area. The debate between these petrifactionists and the statue theorists only added to the giant's mystique and drew even more visitors to Cardiff. At one point, the giant was even nominated as a candidate for local political office, a testament to its impact on the public consciousness. As the giant's fame spread, Hull and Newell saw their opportunity to cash in. They sold a 75% interest in the giant to a group of businessmen from Syracuse for $30,000, a fortune in those days. The giant was moved to Syracuse, where it continued to draw massive crowds. Train companies adjusted their schedules to accommodate the influx of visitors, and local businesses thrived. The giant was more than just a curiosity. It had become a major economic force. However, not everyone was convinced by the Cardiff Giant. Othniel Charles Marsh, a renowned paleontologist, examined the giant and quickly declared it a fake, pointing out that the sculpture bore signs of recent carving and was made from gypsum, a material that would not have withstood the test of time if buried for centuries. Despite Marsh's findings, many people continued to believe in the giant's authenticity, a testament to the power of belief over evidence. The Cardiff Giant story took an even more bizarre turn when P.T. Barnum, the famous showman, entered the picture. Barnum offered to buy the giant for $50,000, but the Syracuse businessmen refused. Undeterred, Barnum had his own replica of the giant made and displayed it in his New York museum, claiming it was the original. The public, ever eager for spectacle, flocked to see Barnum's giant, which, in a twist of irony, became even more popular than the original. The rivalry between the two giants, one a fake of a fake, became a media sensation, further blurring the lines between reality and fiction. The Cardiff Giant's popularity eventually waned as more and more people came to realize it was a hoax. Hull himself eventually confessed, laughing at how easily he had deceived so many. But by then, the Cardiff Giant had already secured its place in history as one of the greatest hoaxes ever perpetrated. Today, the original Cardiff Giant resides at the Farmers Museum in Cooperstown, New York, where it continues to draw visitors curious about this relic of American history. The story of the Cardiff Giant is more than just a tale of deception. It is a reflection of the era in which it was born, a time when America was grappling with the tensions between science and religion, belief and skepticism. It is a reminder of how easily people can be led to believe in the extraordinary, even when the evidence suggests otherwise. The Cardiff Giant is not just a footnote in history, it is a symbol of the enduring power of belief and the lengths to which some will go to challenge that belief. Whether seen as a monument to human gullibility or as a clever critique of religious literalism, the Cardiff Giant remains one of the most fascinating stories of 19th century America,